Welcome everyone. Today, Lena and I will be reviewing the release of 7.18.1, build 2800. Hi Lena, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm excited to be back and to talk about their new release.
All right, perfect. So why don't you get us into the system, and we're not going to waste any time on small talk, and we can just start showing people the new features that have been made public in the release. Okay, so we log on to version 7.18.1, and you can see indication of it in the top right corner or wherever the version is displayed. So the first feature that I would like to show is, Lena, if you could just please activate yourself as active chat.
Yep, of
Okay,
course.
so what we've done here is we've pre-configured this system to have a little bit of a chat integration. Now, you know that the chat can be either a WhatsApp Messenger. If we support Facebook Messenger, we also support Telegram Messenger. So if you could, Lena, could you please take me to chat settings right now in the system designer? I want to show people a few things there. And so in the chat messenger, I want to show you what I have configured, so nothing is going to be coming as a surprise. And what you will see is that we have two chat messages configured right now. One for Facebook Messenger, it's going to be connected to KJ Group Facebook page, and the other one is a Telegram Messenger, and the Telegram Messenger is currently connected to a Telegram bot that I can interact with. I will be interacting with the Telegram bot through my iPhone or through my computer, and then hopefully Lena will be able to see the messages that I will be writing. So you can close this page, or actually keep it open. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so what I can do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to say send a message. So the first message that I want to show you is I'm going to say, hey, I would like to make an order. And so I've typed in my message and I'm sending it, and you could see that on the screen we now see a message. So by default this message wants to be, why don't you accept this chat? By default this message goes in the service queue. However, from the content of the message, it is quite apparent that this message is related to sales. So Lena, why don't you try to transfer it to sales? So in the version, stop, don't click anywhere. In this version, what we've done is we've added an option to transfer the messages between different departments or different queues. As I mentioned before, by default, the Telegram message is going into service desk, but we want to transfer it to sales desk. So why don't you click on sales desk now, Lena? Okay, and in here you see a notification that the chat has now been transferred to a sales desk. Now Lena is logged in and their user who is both a member of a sales desk as well as the service desk. So what we need to do now to see this chat inside sales desk is to click on the back button and accept this chat now as part of a sales queue. We click on the accept chat. And in here, we can now see that this is there is a pre-chat summary. We can see that it's been transferred to a sales desk. The contact has been identified as Kirill, and it's part of, or he or she is member of KJ Group organization. Now, this is happening because this is not the first time we've chatted, and so there is an association between a Telegram ID and the contact. If you're chatting with someone for the first time, then obviously this association needs to be made, and then only then will the contact be recognized. And so in here, once we have it in here, why don't we try to create an opportunity from it? In the top right corner, we want to create opportunity from chat. So let's do that. Let's create an opportunity. So we've created, or we've added the business process as described on the Academy. And what we can do here is, according to this process, we need to fill in some details. So here Lena can communicate with me, let's say through a chat message. And if she were to try to save it right now, Lena, why don't you try saving it before you send me
The
anything?
opportunity.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
We'll see that we need a customer need. So why don't you use a chat to ask me what the customer need is going to be? Can you specify?
What your need is.
Perfect. And so now that you send me this, I can send you a response, and hopefully you can go ahead and fill in the customer need. So there is a software there, okay? And if you save this now, it may allow you to proceed. Now, based on how your organization works with the opportunities, there might be other required fields. Now, why don't you go back into this opportunity in the sales workplace, please?
Yes,
and I want to
of course.
show another new feature of, let's hide this message for now. Yeah. Perfect. So we just get a little bit more space. And what I would like to show here is what's going to happen is, let's say, if we follow the process. So right now we're in this qualification stage, and I don't really understand, or maybe I don't know what the qualification stage is. And I will be clicking through the next stage. Let's go into proposal stage. I believe we want to go into proposal stage.
Yes.
So when we're in the proposal stage, what you can see is now we have this button called Playbook. And if you click on the Playbook button, it will show you what is actually expected of on this page. So as it's configured right now, the proposal stage has certain items, perhaps certain goals, certain timelines, certain expectations, certain things that we as all people involved are expected to do. So Playbook is nothing more than a list of guiding principles or steps that you are expected to perform in this stage. Now, normally in the proposal, we would create some activities or maybe create some tasks for a particular user. But if we don't want to do that, then the Playbook is a fantastic add-on to what we already have. So you can just simply say what's expected of you, like what goals you're trying to achieve, rather than creating a bunch of items in the activity list. Okay, good. So we now have a playbook, and to configure a playbook, why don't we, let me show you another example of a playbook, and then we might take a look at the configuration of the playbook. So what I would like to do now is, why don't we open this chat message one more time? And why don't you complete this chat? So click the green button and click back. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the same chat diagram, but now I would like for you to create a case. I'd like to report a new case, please. And so here's a chat message from me. You accept it. And why don't you create a case out of it?
Okay, so
okay,
now we
so
have
the case is created. So we have a case. You've got an SLA. So why don't you put category there? Let's make it a service request or incident, whatever. We can choose a service. Let's choose a service. Perfect. And that's all a mock, right? So let's save this. And you could see how subject and the description, it kind of automatically fills in from cases, so that's quite nice. Now, before we move on, what I would like for you to do is, you see on the message on the right-hand side, where, in chat, there's this little keyboard thing. So why don't we use one of these templates to say that we've created a new case? Yes, so why don't you use that? And look what happens. The system automatically pre-fills all this information for me. So you can just simply send a chat message back to me, please. I'm just pressing the send button. And so I get a message from Creatio now saying that the something was created. And the way it shows up in my Telegram, I will show you, and it would show up similar way in Facebook or WhatsApp, and here's what I saw. So in here you could see that you've got some text, you also have some hyperlinks, the date, and these messages are completely customizable. We can go into a template messenger and we can totally change everything that shows up there, the type of links that you can be posting, and the opportunities are limitless here. Okay, perfect. Let's get out of this picture, please. And why don't we now take a look at the playbook item in the case? I believe that, so let's go into a case.
And that's number 90.
Number 90, yes.
Yeah.
We should include that link, yeah. Okay, so let's go into in progress. So let's take this case into work. And inside the progress, what we should see now is that we also have a playbook. So why don't you click on this playbook? Okay, so this playbook looks similar, yet it's very different to what we have shown you before. We'll talk about these playbooks configuration in just a minute, but all I wanted to show you is that playbook is not limited to just an opportunity or just cases. Playbook can be added to anything that exists with the DCM. So click close on this, please. And let's go and configure these playbooks. So why don't we head out to knowledge base. And we have a couple of playbooks. So we've got a playbook test and we have a playbook. I'm not sure. What is playbook test? Maybe that's mine.
That's
Probably.
That's the case one.
Okay, so what you're seeing here in the knowledge base article, in order for you to configure a playbook item, there is a new tab called playbook. So why don't you click on playbook? And in here, why don't we click on this case and see if we can, edit this. And so what we're seeing is that every time a case is in English or a case gets added to a stage in progress, okay, and the culture is English, then this template or this pop-up message is going to be used. The culture gets picked up from the current user, so the user who is currently logged in. So if I'm logged in English, then obviously this message is going to be in English, or this message is going to be added. However, if I perhaps use a different culture like French or Spanish, then a different playbook. So we can control the localization. We can still preserve multiple languages for different users. So close this, please. Now, what I would like for you to do is go into general information. And in here, why don't you click it into HTML form? So you can't really see anything here, and you can't really see anything here. And the reason you can't see anything here is because once you save something in HTML, unfortunately, it doesn't show it back. So what I'm using here is I'm using here just a simple iframe, and you can see it if we look at the pop-up. And iframes are supported. It's not recommended, obviously, to use iframes all the time because it just it's not a very secure way of exchanging information. We also made our iframe public, but this is just an iframe. Okay, so we can integrate and pick that up from anywhere else. Why don't we look at how you configured, Lena, your playbook item? Oh, there we go. You can see that. So it shows up, appears, and disappears. So there we go. We have an item. Just don't save anything. Just click away. Yeah. And let's go and take a look at your iframe. So my iframe took 3 lines of code. Your iframe took a little longer, right?
Yeah, I have a bigger HTML, obviously. I've used a different service to configure that. But in the end, as you can see, I get images, I get some text. And by the way, you can include links to files as well. So if you want to, you can link to a particular file that you want your users to use when working on a particular stage. So that's support as well.
Cool. Can you show me your HTML for just one more second? So I saw really quickly that in here you've got a style tag, right? So you can include a style tag, which is pretty cool. So you can style the whole thing, and technically there's really no reason for us to go into an iframe, to go into something external, right? However, what I try to show you with an iframe is that a lot of times designers, they prefer to kind of make their own thing, and then it's going to be kind of like a mock. So when we're testing things out, that's okay to publish it somewhere in an iframe. In my case, it's somewhere in the GitHub. And then just to kind of see how people are accepting. And then once everything is ready, you can just kind of move it here. So you have 2 approaches, right? 2 different approaches. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So that's really good. So now we've looked at the playbook item, and what I want to do now is I want to talk a little bit about Portal, or maybe you can tell me a little bit about Portal, Lena. So I know that we've been working on it, and we've created a case now for a fellow on the right who works for KJ Group. So why don't you tell me a little bit about this Portal thing? What did we add with permissions there?
Yeah, there's a couple of changes that happened with permissions. So now by default, when a case gets created, basically what we are allowing is all the users in the Portal organization. And let's take a look at that before we jump into the Portal. So your users, your portal users, are usually grouped by your accounts, an organization. So if we go to portal organizations, we already created one for KJ group. Here it is, and added some users to it. So what happens basically now with 7.18.1 is when a new case is created, users from this organization, so we currently have only one, but if we had 2 or 3 or more, will automatically get permissions to read the items that are available to the original user. So Kirill, for example, your case will be displayed to other members of your organizational group, which makes it quite convenient. So you can see what other people are creating. You cannot change them, you cannot edit, but you can at least view and see the whole picture, so to speak.
Okay, would you be able to log out from here and log in as Kirill from KJ Group and show me what you're actually talking about?
Well, let's go ahead and do that. So we already created a user for Kirill, and let's take a look at the cases that he has access to on the portal.
Okay. So I see the case number 90, the one that we just created, and 89 and 87 that we were playing with before. Okay, perfect. So we can now see these cases as a portal user. They're totally transparent. So the one that we created from a Telegram message shows up in my portal. And so anyone who belongs to KJ Group organization, any member of this organization, portal organization, will now be able to see this case. And what happens if you click on it? What do you see? Can you click on it?
Yeah, basically now I can track my progress in the portal. Remember the link that we sent in the template message? Yeah, this is where it leads to. So
okay, perfect. So in here we can see everything from the template. We can't really. Can we use that No, I don't think we can use that Telegram to continue discussing this. Once it's been attached, it's kind of attached and it's gone, right? So the next time we pick up the chat, it could be an opportunity, it could be a case. So we can't really go back to that particular thread, but we can communicate and continue our discussion here. And then you will be notified accordingly. Now, I know that in the future releases of Creatio, we're talking about adding those omni-channel communication options right here in the communication panel. So not only you can leave message for support team here in this way, but you will also be able to somehow, but that's a little bit, somehow interact with through Telegram, Facebook, or some other ones. But that's a little bit into the future. So that's what's coming in some other releases. 7, I believe. I'm not going to announce it, so I'm not sure when it's coming. Okay, perfect. So let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about business processes now. So why don't you please exit out of here, go back as a supervisor, and I'd like to show some business processes for us. Okay, so let's continue with our business processes. So let's go to process library. And in here, we've created 3 business processes that we would like to show you. So the first one is create opportunity from chat. This is just a process that's a replica of create case from chat, with the exception that we've changed 2 things here. So open that up, please. And what I wanted to show is the second last element, I believe, and it's called from subject and description. Yes, form, subject, and description. So this is a user task, and in here, that means that we're going to be creating some code. And what we're seeing here is that line number 7 and line number 8 is where we're setting these descriptions and names from the opportunity. So we're saying opportunity name to first message and a description to first message plus a bunch of other stuff. Now, what is this opportunity name and opportunity description? Why don't we take a look at parameters of the process? So click somewhere, go to parameters. There's opportunity name and opportunity description. So that element, all it does, it just basically sets these two parameters. And then we're using these parameters to set them up elsewhere in the open pages, right? So that's essentially, that's all we need to do to create our own stuff and pick up the messages from the chat. Okay, so let's close this process and let's take a look at another one, which is also a little bit devy thing. So let's click on collections. And let's take a look at what's happening here. So in this process, we are now able to pass collections, or actually composite item collection from one element to another. So if you click on read employee, please. And in read employee, we on the right-hand side, we'll be able to see that here we're reading first 50 records from a list of all the employees. Okay, so we're just basically getting a list of employees. And when we're reading this list, we are selecting a contact and a probation period. Okay, so that's all we did. Now let's take a look at the show page. On here, we can now add, so this is actually a new feature of 7.18.1. This is where we can add, scroll down, please. On the page. So now we can see, now we can add a collection here as an input parameter. So here I've added a collection called employees with two properties, contact and date. Okay, so we have to pass the collection, we have to provide the mapping. So if on employees, you see we're at triple dots, Lena, where you have triple dot right now, click on that triple dot, click edit. And in here you see a value. So this is where we're setting the value. So in here, if you click on the lightning, and you click on the process parameter, then you will be able to pick from the employee record collection. Okay, so here we're just simply setting the value. Now, if you cancel out of here, okay, and cancel out of here, perfect. Now, if you go into contact, you see a contact under employees, yeah, and click on the process parameter here. What you're doing here is you're mapping here. So here you have to pick the contact itself. So essentially, when we're passing the collections around, we have to pass the value, and we also have to do something that will map them, okay? How to map things. So let's cancel out of here as well. And let's go into a first tab of your browser, please.
Let's go to configuration.
Let's click run. For now, let's click run. So when we run the process, a new page shows up and a collection of records simply gets read. So we've read 13, I believe, contacts, and I've started customizing this page for future episodes. I haven't finished, so don't look at this new field group and the contact list right now. But what we're doing is we're passing essentially a list of contacts, and then I am simply showing what these contacts are. Now, these features aren't meant to be user features. They're meant for developers who know how to work with collections and know how to iterate over them, but it's a nice and convenient way for us to pass things around. Otherwise, we would need to come up with something else. We would need to serialize things in some weird way and pass them around. So why don't you click on the configuration now on the right-hand side, right under, no, not this one, no. And the little cog, yes. And in here, let's go, everything we did here is in the custom package. So let's go in the custom package and get rid of this base detail schema filter, please. Inside custom package.
Oh, yeah, all items.
No. Yes.
Here. Yeah.
Perfect. And if you could now go into a type filter, under types, select client module, and KJ collection page. Perfect. Yeah, I click on this one. So here I would like to show how and where we can configure it. So on the left-hand side under parameters, if you expand the parameters, you can now see a button called employees. And if you click on the pencil on the employees, you will be able to see what this new parameter is. So previously we couldn't set it up. Now we can actually set it up. Okay, so serializable list of composite values. That's the new type of the parameter, and we can set the same properties on it as before. You can provide localizations, you can provide whether it's a required, if it's a resulting, etc. So all those values have not changed, it's just the new value type has been added, which is fantastic. So now we can pass parameters back and forth. All right, so let's cancel out of here and close this tab. And I think you have a business process you would like to share with us.
Yeah, I would like to show a process which is a little bit more, I guess, citizen developer friendly.
Okay.
We have added something to user actions. So let me jump into the process library. Yes. So I'm going to quickly show you the process diagram, and then we're going to see how it executes using two users.
Okay.
So to user actions, we have added an option to choose whether you want this task, a page, a user dialog item to be shown to a particular user, a role, or a user's manager. So you've probably seen this process I've shown a couple of times. It's very similar to something that we normally do. Basically, here is our regular activity, right? The perform task element. The new field that has been added is the who performs the task. And now we have three options. Again, you can be an individual user, you can do the employee's manager, or you can do a role. So we've seen this set up in approvals before. Now it's been expanded to other elements as well. So in this process, what we're going to see that the activity will be generated for a user group called CC agents and customer center agents, and all of the users that belong to that organizational role will receive this task. Then they'll have an option to assign it to themselves. After that, it will disappear from other users. And basically, similarly, you will see that the call again will perform as well, because again, it's set to a role. Once it gets designated basically owner, a person who will perform the task, it disappears from other user. So let's go ahead and check this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log out, and I'm going to show you the example with two users. So first one, let me do Peter. So let's go to cases. It's triggered basically when a case gets to stage resolve. So for example, we're just going to take one of the cases that we created today. I'm going to move it to resolve for the purpose of this demonstration. And let me change this. By the way, now in my business process tasks, I have a couple of options. I have an option to show all tasks, and they're split into two types, personal and group. So personal meaning tasks assigned to me, those user actions, perform task, view page, user dialog, and so on. When it's assigned directly to me, it's going to appear under personal. If it's assigned to a group, then it's going to appear under group, or obviously you can select all to see all the tasks coming in. So as you can see,
so group would be a rule, right? So if somebody assigns a task,
yeah. So let's take a closer look at the activity page that has been generated. So I'm going to click here and open the activity. As you see, now in the activity, I have a new field called role, where it lists the role that was assigned to this particular activity. So as you can see, there is no owner now, so that's why the task did not appear under personal, because there is no owner. But this user can see it. Now, let me create a second window and let me log in under a different user. So I can show you that another user in this role received the same notification. So it was Peter, and then now it's going to be John. So they're both in the agent group.
Okay. Okay, so it works in the same way that, like you said, the approval flow. So we can assign it to a group, and then okay, whoever's in the group, I guess, can complete the task, right?
Yes. So here it is. As you can see, it's the same task for case 89. Okay. Now, I can either assign it to myself using under actions. I can execute. I can assign to myself. For example, if I assign it to myself, so I'm left with this task. And as you can see, Peter no longer sees this task. So again, he understands the task doesn't need to be completed anymore. Somebody is taking care of it. Okay. So let's go back here to our main user now. And in the owner, this is just opened the page a little bit earlier. Let's refresh, because now it should show in the owner the name of the users who accepted the task. Here it is. John is listed as the owner. What I'm going to do, I'm move to the next element. I'm going to choose the option call later or no answer, which brings me to the dialog option. So, okay, save. And both users receive the new task, which is the dialog, because again, I configured it to go to the role. And do the current user, for example, for the second element. This way, it will be shown to the person who executed the first one, and it's not going to be sent to the entire group. In certain cases, that would be a more acceptable approach, depending on what the business process is. With with the user dialog and with activities as well, by the way, something I'll show in the next step, because we'll kind of circle back. You have your task properties. That's something that was added as well. So a user dialog now is an activity. It's an activity type of record that you can also show in the calendar. It's done this way, so you can kind of return to it. Before, it was hidden under the button execute later. If you click execute later, it would create basically an activity. If you basically answer the question right away, it did not do that. Now it creates an activity. You can put it in your calendar. You can as well assign the owner. Here's the role, start date, so on, so on. Okay. So if I click save, for example, call again, yes. We're circling back, and let me quickly demonstrate what happens in activities, that both the perform task is an activity and the call later is an activity as well. So here they are. Yeah, so call again, and then they're completed already. Yeah, so all of them appear here. And again, so we're circling back here. Say second. No, that's the activity. Yeah. Okay, that's the activity. You can't do it on the activity. You can only do it on those visual elements other than the activity. Yeah, because all the fields are displayed here. So we have the start date, due date, and so on. So this is something that was added to the user actions in the business processes. Now you can route those tasks to a group, a role, rather than an individual user. I mentioned right now, at this point, you can. There are no kind of like controls over who can or cannot reassign tasks. But I know I was talking about this feature again for future releases. So, but right now, this option is available to all the users who will receive this task. They'll be able to only reassign within the role. So if the role is agents, I only get 2 users who are
so it's a pre-filtered, right? Pre-filtered pop-up box. Okay, good. Yeah. Good. Okay, excellent. What else? I think we have something in marketing, right? So why don't we take a look at that real quick? Yeah. Oh, there was a good pop-up that another user accepted the task. But Oh, okay. So you've got something else. Show us.
Yeah, I think let me quickly go back. Oh, sorry. So this is John. So if I do John, click select. 1 second. Will I get the same message here? No, that disappeared. Okay, sorry.
Okay, not sure what was going on.
I think.
Okay, so let's go take a look at marketing. But I think I know what you're going after. You're going after what happens if the task is assigned to both people. And then depending on who opens it first, if you complete it, you have to use that visual element. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So on the visual element, as long as you complete it, then it's going to disappear on somebody else's screen. So there is a communication there. So if you're creating those visual interactions, then yes, they will be disappearing from somebody else's screen. So you won't be able to complete them 2 or 3 times, and the other person will get a message. It just you just need a specific flow for that. I think we didn't prepare for it. Okay, good. Let's take a look what's going on in marketing.
Yeah, the last thing that we want to talk about today will be throttling in marketing. So this feature has been available for a couple of releases now, but got some extended, basically, features. Now, prior to 7.18, we only had either a warm-up mode, which basically warm up your cold audience. You had to configure it in your lookup, and the user had to select basically to work whatever was given. So you had no throttling or just warm up cold audience. Now you can set up your manual limit. And what it allows you to is basically the system will first of all give you the option of setting up the daily limit of emails that you want to send. Again, we use this feature to kind of emulate an actual person sending emails. This way, our emails get treated, our domain gets treated better by the receiving side, by the receiver servers. They feel like it's not a spam. They feel like it's not a robot that's sending them, but it's an actual human. And so the message doesn't go into the spam folder, but rather it gets ranked higher and gets in the actual inbox and so on. So now you can set up your manual limit, meaning you can do a daily limit of emails you want to send and the delay between them. The nice thing among these features is that you can basically, the system will tell you if you're over the limit, under the limit, and so on. And it will work with your delivery time range. So if you want to say you want to email only during the business hours, then we can set, for example, we'll have limited. Let's do 9 a.m., for example, to.
So this daily limit, this is how many emails you can send per day, right? So if I want to send like no more than 100 emails or no more than 1,000 emails, that's going to be the value that I specify here. And then the delay between emails is going to be, what is that metric?
It's in seconds. So again, we're trying not to send too many emails. So we're kind of, again, imitating a human behavior. An actual human cannot send 50 emails at the same time. It's physically not possible. And so what we're trying to imitate here is to say, okay, I want to send, for example, 100 emails. And let's see, with a delay, let's actually do 1,000. It should give me with a delay of 80. Yeah. So if I specify something that does not make sense, so 1,000 emails with a 80-second delay, the system tells me the delay between each email has to be only 32 seconds. It's not going to fit between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. So, and vice versa, if I go here and change it to 2,000, again.
Yeah, I just checked the math and it actually works out. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah. So just to put it, what happens here is, look, you've selected 9 hours right? So you've got the delivery range from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So that's a total of 9 hours. So I'm taking a calculator and I'm actually calculating. So we've got 9 hours and we multiply by 3,600 seconds in an hour. So that gives us 32,400 seconds in that time span that you've selected. Right, so 32,400, and you want to send 1,000 emails. So if we divide it by 1,000, the maximum delay can be 32.4 seconds. Okay, so this delay is basically saying I have a daily limit, so I have 1,000 emails, or in your case, you have 2,000 emails, and you want to make sure that you send this 2,000 emails in 9 hours. So your delay can be, 16, 17 seconds, no more. Otherwise, you will not fit into this 9-hour limit. Okay, makes sense. However, if you change this 2,000 to, let's say, 100, then the whole math is different, right? So you can change it to 100 and you say, well, in this case, I want to send no more than 100 emails. So now you're going to say, okay, 100 emails, wait for 80 seconds, then another, one email, wait for 80 seconds, one email, etc., etc. So we're going to send 80 times 100. So what is it? It's not a lot. It's a third of what we used to be, right? Or a quarter. So you're going to send it, I don't know, at 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and you will be done, and then there's going to be nothing to do. So this email throttling is nothing more than just a delay, or just basically spread it across the amount of time that you allot for the amount of emails that you want to send. And we get some validation telling you that, your math is not correct. If you want to send 9 hours, no, if you want to send 16 hours worth of work within 9 hours, well, you can't. You have to remove or shrink that delay so that emails go a little bit faster. Okay, so that makes perfect sense. And then this delivery schedule, I guess that didn't change, right? So the delivery schedule, so that's all the same.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's perfect. Anything else we need to cover in today's session?
No, this is it. This is actually all. It's a minor release, but it still has some exciting features, I have to say.
Okay, perfect. All right, Lena, so thank you very much for today's session. By the way, if you have any questions, we have people manning the chat session right now, and like if somebody is actually asking questions, we would be able to see it and answer it. So please don't be shy, don't shy away from it, and feel free to ask. And I think in the next releases, we will bring you some other options of communicating, especially with the trainers, namely with me and Lena. I think we will take this Telegram, Facebook, WhatsApp idea, and maybe we'll create a queue, and so people can send us a message what they would like to see in the next episodes. I think that would be very, very useful. We'll make an announcement for that. So if we choose to implement that or not. So hopefully that's going to come in the next release. And the next episode, just to kind of remind you, is going to be next week, next Wednesday. And it's going to deal with our project that we started for USPS Connector, and we're working on documentation. So make sure you don't miss it. We're going to be writing documentation. We're going to be creating our own website. We're going to be documenting in code, outside of code, using markup and building things, and hopefully publishing that somewhere that it's publicly available. So next week is going to be very exciting. So make sure that you stay tuned. All right. Well, thank you very much. And I will see you next time.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.